Hello, friends. Host Eric here, host of Talking with Famous People. And I'm live streaming because I just got up and I woke up mad. That tends to make me want to live stream. In this instance, I kind of woke up mad because about 8 a.m. I was jolted awake by a bang on my door from my dad, who needed me to help him talk to a doctor on the phone because he couldn't hear what the doctor was saying. And what the doctor was saying was nothing. And it took him forever to fucking say it. And it's just like, at the end of it, I said, okay, well, so this doctor's not sure why that test was even ordered. Well, first I said, this doctor's confused about why you were even referred to him. And he corrected me. No, I'm confused about why the test was originally ordered. I'm not confused about why he was then referred to me from those results. I thought, I'm not confused about why the test was ordered, because you doctors have this weird data obsession. You think empirics can replace reason. So you're kind of happy that I woke up mad then. But I'm especially mad at Anthony Lapalosa, Rachel's brother, for his bullshit and playing in with his mom's bullshit, trying to act like they're inviting Rachel to this wedding when really they're excluding me explicitly because they don't like me because I call them on their bullshit because they're narcissists, you know. I've never had a real conversation with Anthony Lapalosa because every time I say, you need to talk to me, he runs away in terror like a little bee. Such a cowardly little shit that guy is, I tell you. I really dislike him strongly. He's participating with his mother in this abuse of Rachel for no reason, and has for years, except that he's fucking awful and hypocritical and, you know, a scumbag. And he tries to position it like they're including Rachel and everything. They're not including Rachel. By excluding me, they're excluding Rachel, and they need to acknowledge that reality, you know. Rachel has no business being anywhere around them without me there because they have a history of abusing her. And I'm not going to let that happen. They want to isolate her away from me so that they can continue treating her like shit. But that's not going to happen. And they're not going to control this narrative, you know? Not going to allow that to happen. And they can suck my fucking dick if they don't like it. Because I hate these fucking scumbags. You know, it's like I hate fucking scumbags. Scumbags are people who lie and don't use words correctly. And Anthony's a big liar. He's a big fucking liar. Always pretending like it's something other than it is, you know. It really bothers me. But what really bothers me most of all, probably, are those goddamn doctors. Medical doctors are some of the stupidest people on the planet. They're dumbass people, and they think they're smart. That's the worst thing. I do not mind stupidity on people who know they're stupid, okay? People who are dumb, fine to be dumb, as long as they don't act like they're smart, right? You are also angry today? Well, it's been a rough, 4 or 5 days around here, actually. And the reason is because I don't think Rachel's awake yet. She's still in bed, but, she ran out of her olanzapine, almost a week ago, which she needs to stay sane. But she didn't tell me because it cost $200 and we were broke and we just had a fight about money, and so not really a fight, it was just frustrations about it. And but then it came out and I was like, okay, well that needs to be a top priority, right? That you have to have your pills. So we went and got them, and I think she's gonna be fine. The last 4 or 5 days she's been struggling to keep a positive attitude and stuff because she doesn't have the right drugs. And I was thinking like something was wrong, but really it was just she didn't have those. She'd been trying to make do without taking that drug because we were broke. I said, okay, I understand totally why you didn't tell me, but we got to fix that. That's top priority, you know. So anyway, we got her olanzapine yesterday. We both got a good night's sleep last night. I feel really rested. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever worn this on camera before. My dad actually got me this shirt for Christmas. Strange. So he got all us anime shirts. Me, Rachel, and Delilah because he comes in and here and sees us watching these cartoons all the time and has asked like, what are these cartoons you're always watching? And then in fact he recommended that, well, you know there's an anime convention in the beginning of next month at wherever, and I'm like, yeah, we're not going to that. If I were going to go to any kind of convention, I'd go to VidCon. I would have applied to get into the reason I didn't apply to go to VidCon, which is in Orange County, like next week or something, is because if I went to VidCon, if I did get approved to go into the special YouTube clubhouse at VidCon, it's not +1, so I don't really want to go down there and not be able to take Rachel into the VIP room with me. What was it about that show tomorrow that made you cry? Okay, well, let me just tell you this about tomorrow. Hi, Clint Eastwood. Hi, Dark Sunshine. Hi, Super Long Name. Hi, Winston's Mom. Hi, Lou DeFay. You want to talk about a crazily, ridiculously FI unfair concept for an episode of a show? It's the suicidal dog episode, okay? So in tomorrow, there's this episode where there's this old dog who and his owner, and they've been pals since the adult male now was like 7 years old, right? And the dog's like 15. And the dog overhears the guy say on the phone how he couldn't stand to watch his dog die, okay? And that it would kill him to watch his dog die. So his dog runs away and tries to kill himself separately from the guy. And then the Grim Reapers are trying to prevent the dog from killing itself, you know. It was so FI. It was just, my whole beard was wet with tears. Rachel wasn't even awake. But it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I watched every minute of it. It's okay. In the end, the dog dies naturally in the guy's arms. You know, it's just like, oh my god. It does involve some FE considerations, but it's saying like, don't let FE prevent you from letting the other person FI properly. That's basically the message of it. And that's the episode also where we learned that, in fact, dogs also count as people for the purposes of Grim Reapers. Yeah, talk about a heartstring puller. I mean, they have a bunch of other episodes that are also heartstring pulley, that have dark subjects, you know, like bullying or sexual assault or something like that. But that episode right there didn't have a dark subject per se, but it was like mind-blowingly tugging on the F's. And it was just, and then when I went in and told Rachel about how I've been watching the show, it was making me sob so much, she felt jealous that she couldn't feel those emotions too, so tried to find a show that she could watch that would elicit those emotions from her. Because, you know, INFJs, they don't cry as easily as I do. Like, it's not that easy for Rachel to cry. Whereas I cry at just about everything. I'm constantly crying. Well, this talk was not harmed at all during the making of the show, okay? It's just a episode about the deep relationship between a human being and their pet, you know? And I really resonate with that because I had a dog that I loved that much, you know? And you cried when the San Francisco Giants swept us 3-0. How's my Padres prediction looking now? Betting tips 3,000. How's my Padres prediction looking now? Who's leading the NL West? Is it the Dodgers? No. Is it the Giants? No. It's the Padres. Huh? Huh? Hmm? Dark Sunshine, I am shocked and dismayed to hear that you watched Eat, Pray, Love. what, what possibly inspired you to watch that? So I hope you did as I said back then, betting tips 3,000, put some money down on the Padres to win the NL West. Anyway, it's been kind of a shitty couple of weeks, really. Uh, I really didn't like this particular bottle of Adderall, and are there still 100 games to go? Jesus, baseball has so many games in a season, doesn't it? It's like, do we really need to play all those teams all those many times to figure out who gets to go to the playoffs? They're just trying to squeeze more money out of the attendees, I guess. Could it be wonderful if we could all intimately love each other without STDs? No, you can't. You gotta. People are. Jealousy is an implicit part of human experience and biological experience. Um, yeah, well, in that in that hockey situation, I was rooting for the Rangers, and we watched those games. It was depressing watching them lose the last Rangers game. Yeah, well, you'd think, Winston. Well, and this is the thing. I'm I'm ready to be convinced that that what they say is true. The generics are all the same. It's just the chemical composition of a generic is the same as the name brand. It's the same as, but I just have not. My experience has told me on multiple occasions, like, I don't like this bottle and I like that bottle. Like, these ones are little white pills that have less filler in them, I guess. How did the Rangers lose? They were far ahead. Did you see the Rangers fan knocking out the Bolts fan? No, I didn't see that. Viva la Mexico! Viva la raza! My daughter self-identifies as a Mexican. She's only 1/4 Mexican, but she self-identifies as one anyway. Her maternal grandmother was from Michoacan and still speaks like really Mexican-y. Like, she's a textbook abuelita. She goes, "Oh, te caes! Oi, 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 oi!" Yeah, that Lightning goalie is astonishingly good. I mean, so was the Rangers goalie. Yeah, I don't think this was a good bottle of speed. What's what's funny? Your dream is to one day open a lemon pledge company. Is that all? How to help all the Mexican cleaning ladies? Um, I really like. That's one of the great things about LA is all the Mexicans. Mexicans are great. you know, they're they do actual work instead of just fucking around, which is fantastic. Somebody's got to do actual work, and they know how to party. Mexicans know how to party, and they know how to work hard. What more do you want from a person in life than that? Goaltender is the most important position in hockey. I agree. It's like pitcher kind of for baseball. And what I see watching hockey are the highest percentage of impossible saves. Like when I watch soccer, I think sometimes like, oh, you should have been able to block that one, goalkeeper. I never say that in hockey. It's always like, how in the hell did you even know that was coming towards you? It's like they can shoot. Let's shoot it between. Like let's say this is the top of the goal, and this is the guy's shoulder. There's like this much space, and let's shoot it right here. Yeah, hockey's kind of crazy. It goes so fast. You're trying to follow the puck, all of a sudden it's in the goal, and you're like, well, I can't blame the goalie because there's no way in hell I could have ever stopped that. No, I know soccer. Like, if you watch Lionel Messi, like maybe last World Cup before when he was a little younger, he is just really astonishingly good at getting around people by himself. Like he'd have like three people coming at him and stuff, and he just like and get it around them and then pass it over to here or whatever. Um. Anyway, it really makes me mad that Anthony and Rachel's mom are trying to control the narrative so much. Yeah, I've got to rearrange the room. Still need to do more rearranging today, though. Uh, I'm a Dodgers fan. I'm a straight up Dodgers fan. I have been my whole life. My whole life, we've listened to Dodger games around here. My mom was a huge Dodgers fan, and all summer long she'd work out in the yard and bring the radio with her and listen to the baseball game. My mom knew a lot about baseball and about the Dodgers in particular, and so I've been to Dodgers games my whole life. I occasionally go to an Angels game. I've gone to a few in my life, but not very many. So yeah, my family's Dodgers, Lakers, USC. Those are our teams. Our number one team is USC Trojans. My dad's a huge Trojans fan. We had season tickets to USC football games for all the years I was growing up, and my parents usually went to. Are you in Vero Beach or something? Vero Beach, Florida. Um. Lemon breeding? No, I just wanted to give Betting Tips 3000 a surprising betting tip, not something obvious. Like, if I just told you, here's my betting tip, and I picked the favorite, well, that's not very interesting, right? I had to tell you something that I thought was going to happen that was unlikely to be expected by everybody. Yeah. If you were going to ask me who I wanted to win the West, yeah, but I'd like to see the Dodgers win the West. I'd like to see the Dodgers win the World Series, but well, I don't really trust in the Dodgers hitting, to be honest. I trust in the Dodgers pitching staff, but the hitting's not consistent, you know? It's like it seems like one or two players starts hitting well, and the other players kind of go into off mode, and then another one or two players start hitting well, and the other players kind of go into off mode. Yeah, that is ridiculous, Dark Sunshine. It's absolutely ridiculous that the Texas Longhorns would sue your school. But I guess that's because it's a trademark, probably. The difference between a trademark and a copyright is that if you don't make efforts consistently to enforce your trademark, then the courts won't recognize it as yours anymore. Why they would need to do that for some high school overseas, though, is beyond me. No, New Groove, you have to stand on one side of the fence or the other. You can't have... That's all the data you need. Oh, it was a Florida high school. You went to high school in America, that's right. Well, yeah, especially the hitting, right? The pitching is pretty consistent, but I think we're second in the league in pitching stats overall right now. This, look how much weed I have left of this. We bought this ounce of weed at the beginning of the month. It's been 2 weeks already. And we've gone through like half of it. This is going to last us an entire month. It's how dense and slow smoking this weed is. So anyway, I am primarily you can't be the Florida high school Longhorns. The funny thing is, if it was like the Tigers or something, you'd probably get away with it because there are lots of teams called the Tigers. Am I a constitutionalist? Yeah, more or less. No, people who call it antiquated don't understand the purpose of it. It's to constrain the scope of federal authority because this is a federation, of independent states. It's supposed to be. Well, the thing to remember betting Tips 3000 is that gun control legislation doesn't work. We know that for sure because we have so many gun control laws on the books already, and if it worked, then we wouldn't be having shootings, right? So we know that they don't work, and we know that that's not the point. There's no point in doing those sort of things. You might want to limit people's access to full military weaponry or whatever, but that's not a solution. Ultimately, people are going to have guns and people are going to use them. And in America, there are over 300 million guns already out in the world here. So the idea that we can solve shootings problems with gun control is wrong and insane. The only way you can do that is to have like a full blast Japanese style or European style and no guns allowed. But we can't. This is America, and we're better than that. We're better than that. Well, they don't need them for self-protection. But that's not why people have the right to have guns. It's not because they need them. I have the right to smoke this weed, too. Regardless of what the government says. That's not because I need it. Because I want it. People want to do what they want to do. Some people get off on shooting things. It seems like a dumb hobby to me. It seems boring and stupid. Point this thing and shoot the projectile out and then hit this target. It's like, okay, that'll entertain me for 5 minutes. And what's the point of this exactly? But that's me, you know. I'm not into stupid shit like that. But other people are. I'm into my own kind of stupid shit. Bow and arrow is also not that fun. Cameron took me out shooting with his bow and arrow one time, and it's a way harder than you think to hit the target. It's also hard to pull back. It's like it takes arm strength and makes your arms sore afterwards. It's like if you want to get rid of that. I mean, look, this is the truth. This is the truth about weaponry and protecting yourself. To the extent that you need a gun to protect yourself, it's probably because you're out somewhere where there are wild animals that you might need to shoot. So it's like if I lived in Alaska, I'd carry a gun with me. Not because I want to shoot a bear, but because it's reasonable to conclude that I might have to. It's if in fact I were to be my house was to be invaded by a robber or something in the night, I very seriously doubt I would be able to get into the closet, get the rifle out, load it. It's bolt action. It takes one bullet at a time, you know, and then utilize it to protect the house. I would have to, first of all, determine with absolute certainty that I needed to use deadly force, and I'm going to be slow on coming to that conclusion. I'm going to be hesitant to shoot, you know. I'd be much better off just picking up some heavy thing and hitting him over the head with it. We have a 22 bolt action rifle here at the house. It's in the closet. The first time Rachel went insane, my dad's solution was to put a lock on the closet door. It's just like a padlock. And then he leaves it unlocked so we can get in there if we need to. And I wanted to tell him, Dad, Rachel's not that kind of crazy. But I thought, well, you never know. Maybe she is that kind of crazy. So yeah, we have a rifle. Do I need it? No. Do I have the right to have it? Yeah. A 22 bolt action rifle is as wimpy a gun as you could possibly get, too. It's like, you'd probably stop somebody if you shot them with it. Like, they're not going to keep coming at you or whatever. Well, this is the problem. Not as available, right? You kind of can't have it both ways. You either go full blast, possession of guns is inherently illegal, or you're going to have people accessing guns. And you don't need an assault rifle to kill somebody. You know? If I have 4 handguns and multiple clips and some skill, I'm just as capable of taking out a bunch of people as if I have a semi-automatic assault rifle. It's not like automatic weapons are legal, and that's a meaningful distinction. Should individual citizens have machine guns? Well, obviously, individual people don't have a pressing need for a machine gun. Well, yeah, a small percentage of people who own guns do do great damage. But the thing is, if we wanted to evaluate things well and intelligently, we'd acknowledge that those same people can do just as much damage with their car or with a bunch of gasoline and a lighter. Well, automatic weapons, you don't have to take, you just pull the trigger and it keeps shooting bullets. Semi-automatic, you have to pull it each time for it to shoot a bullet. And even in America, don't fool yourself, girl. Shooting guns can cause problems, as Taylor and I learned when I shot a gun in Kansas with him, and my shooting of that gun was used against him to justify a search warrant of his house because supposedly, allegedly, I was shooting some geese. They could have been ducks, They easily could have been ducks. It's hard to say what they were. And besides which, I didn't hit anything, okay? I was shooting at a bunch of birds. They were sitting on a lake, or a little pond, or whatever. And I thought, I shoot those birds over there, shoot those birds. And I'm sure to hit one because they're all sitting there on that lake. But I was shooting at them with a handgun. And then if you're not auto at all, you're like my bolt action 22 rifle. You have to put one bullet in, push it in, and then you shoot it, and then you can put another bullet in before you shoot it again. I believe, I was using a Glock, if I'm not mistaken. Taylor can confirm that, but I believe that's what I was using. It was a cool gun. It had the Second Amendment right on it. It was like part of its decoration. No, it's not called a glockenspiel. That's a musical instrument. I don't think we're going to have a zombie apocalypse. If we have to have one of those kind of apocalypses, I would rather be a vampire apocalypse. It was Glock 19. So anyway, obviously, we went out to some private land to shoot. And Taylor told me which direction to shoot. And then was smart about things and realized that Eric is not gun safe very much, so I'm just gonna watch him be incompetent rather than shooting myself, because he's probably gonna walk in front of my gun. But that was the first time I'd ever shot a handgun. That was the first time I'd ever shot a handgun, and I went around trying to shoot birds for a while. After I scared away all the big birds that were on the lake, I went around in this little forest and tried to shoot songbirds. I couldn't hit it. Even if I was like 6 feet away from it, I couldn't hit it. And it's like, okay, these guns aren't very accurate. Or maybe I'm just bad at shooting them, probably. That was fun, though. That was fun. Taylor and I had the best trip to Walmart before on my trip down there, too. Because in Kansas, there's no concealed carry law. So he's like, would you like to carry a gun with you in your waistband to Walmart? And I'm like, okay. I had on my sweats, and we needed to go to Walmart because one of my flip-flops was broken. We walk in there, and I'm like, with my one foot, my one shoe broken. And then we went to the shoe aisle, and I found some shoes and another pair of flip-flops, and then we went around and looked, and I bought I bought things that I thought were fun, which included stickers and like something to color with or something like little kid stuff. But anyway, at one point when I was in the Walmart, my the gun that was in my waistband started slipping down the leg of my pants. And I learned later from Taylor, apparently, the store detective was following me around. Who knows why he would be doing such a thing? Me? I'm the last person you have to worry about stealing anything. I never steal anything. Never ever. You don't gotta worry about me stealing anything. Or not respecting your store or something. I respect other people's businesses and shit like that. Well, the point is, be realistic about what you can expect in America. Is it possible that we could implement more gun control laws without violating the constitutional right to possess arms? Yeah, based on the rulings of the Supreme Court, it's possible that the government could ban certain kinds of weapons, blah 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 blah, that aren't currently banned, and thereby further limit access to guns. But they're not going to be able to eliminate all access to guns because of the way the Supreme Court ruling reads on the matter. So that's what basically Washington D.C. tried to do, and the Supreme Court said no. There is a fundamental right to possess a gun. They cannot be. Okay, well, I'm talking about case law, not the Constitution itself. Okay, flow state. I'm talking about how the Supreme Court has interpreted the case law, which is that there is a constitutional right that's unimpeachable to possess a gun, but not to possess any gun. I agree with you, flow state. I'm not saying that it's a good decision. Okay, and I'm not saying it's actually. I don't entirely agree with you because I'm probably a little less 100% gung ho originalist than you are about this matter. But regardless, based on what the Supreme Court ruled, we can conclude that there's no way to constitutionally, according to current status quo case law, for a state to entirely ban guns and for it not to be overturned by the Supreme Court. I mean, it wouldn't. Yeah, it's hard not to agree with the Supreme Court because to disagree with the Supreme Court on Heller versus D.C. is to say I don't care at all about the Constitution and what it says. Which is what the Supreme Court did in Angel versus USFG. Yeah, it's not realistic to get rid of them over here. America is a special place because it began and continues to resonate in large swaths of it, but not necessarily the majority, as fundamentally libertarian. No, I'm not disputing the fact betting tips 3000 that within the scope of the current Supreme Court ruling and the status quo, there is room to do more gun control. The question is, why are we doing it? And so the Supreme Court protected the fundamental right to own a firearm, but not the fundamental right to own as many firearms as you want or any kind of firearm. So I mean, it's true what you're saying about the 3D printing there, flow state, that if it becomes easy for anybody to 3D print a gun, which I think it already has, then the idea of controlling possession of weapons becomes inherently counterproductive, because anytime anybody wants a gun to commit a crime, they will print it and then destroy it afterwards. So the only people you're preventing from getting guns are people who are going to use them for lawful purposes. And it's like, okay, well, you know what's one thing that's interesting is TV shows and stuff. When TV shows are set in America, if something needs use of force, guns are part of the story. Well, let's go get some guns. you know, if we need weaponry, let's go get some weaponry. It's like, I'm watching Stranger Things, and they're like, okay, we're stuck here in the Upside Down. Let's go to the police station and get some guns and grenades. And the other kid's like, I seriously doubt the police department has grenades. And then the girl's like, we don't need to go all the way there. Let's just go to my house and get the guns from my house. Like, that makes perfect sense in America, right? It's like part of the story. It is the case that somebody among this group of people has guns, or their parents do, or somebody in their family does. Well, I mean, here's the other thing, betting tips 3000. When I was driving home from the pharmacy yesterday, after we got Rachel's medication, I said to her, as I witnessed these two kids riding their bikes the other direction, and they didn't have helmets on. And I said, God, that makes me happy to see that. It's like COVID was the culmination, hopefully the absolute low point or high point, depending on how you want to view it, of safety fetish. Safety fetish is a disease that society suffers from, and it's predicated on the false notion that we can use a law of large numbers approach towards public policy regarding well-being. A person's well-being begins with their autonomy, and to the extent that you inhibit that autonomy too much, you make it impossible for them to attain any kind of meaningful well-being. Here you need a weapons permit for stuff that we don't even consider weapons, like retractable hand knives and stuff. That's ridiculous. That's fucking nonsense. I mean, can't you just get a kitchen knife or something? And they go, well, that's why we need to ban kitchen knives. Okay, fuck off, morons. It's like, it may be the case that you can apply a law of large numbers kind of approach to any given prospective limitation of liberty, and say that on balance is going to save lives. But that's only because you're a complete fucking moron who doesn't process the fact that these things play out along multiple vectors, and that there are shit tons of unintended consequences, and that people don't like being told what to do, and that's a big deal too. It's like, I don't want you to tell me what to do, whoever you are. I don't want you to tell me what to do. Is that okay? Yes, that's fine. And TE people will be like, no, that's not okay, Eric. That's not okay that you don't want people to tell you what to do. We have to tell people what to do or they'll get hurt. And my point is always the same. Fuck off. Fuck off. Stop being everybody's nanny. It's as simple as that. It's wicked and evil to tell people what to do even more probably when you say it's for their own good. Who are you to tell them what's for their own good? You're not them. Let them be them, you be you. You know? I don't have anything scheduled for today. I have nothing on the schedule but Redual Predual. My dad got me this shirt for Christmas. My dad got us anime shirts for Christmas. But this one is not really an anime shirt. He doesn't get that. This is a Hello Kitty shirt that's made a deal with My Hero Academy. Well, I mean, I don't think that's the case, Pierre Kyuk, but people like to people like to reduce things into an enemy they can hate, and they're desperate to do so constantly. It's what humanity's fetish is, in fact. This is a blame fetish. I need a actual entity I can blame, whether it's a group or a person or whatever, rather than being responsible in my own understanding of things. Well, it's this law of large numbers being misapplied. It's never a good idea to try to say, well, look, if we force everyone to wear helmets, we can definitely save lives because because you're ignoring the fact that there are two metrics by which we understand things. We understand things as sanctity of life and quality of life, and sometimes those two things are not in conformity with one another. You're blaming a quote unquote dominant elite that doesn't exist. Okay? Individuals are individuals. There is not a group of dominant elites working in conformity with one another as some part of some sort of secret organization or whatever. So you can just forget about that. Individuals are individuals. We all have, just as you are so difficult to convince, and I'm so difficult to convince by you, so is it true with these individuals that you claim are part of some dominant elite. So you're just going to have to stop NIing what doesn't NI properly. Okay? Stop using NI poorly. Stop using NI poorly and recognize fundamental realities that we can't violate as observations if we want to be right about anything. Individuals are individuals. Okay? So just like you and I are not seeing eye to eye, so too is it the case that's so for rich and powerful people. They don't see eye to eye either. Just because some people are rich and powerful the Illuminati was made up as a joke by people like me. Except wicked. Amoral, you might say. They didn't really consider what they were doing. They didn't know their bullshit narratives were going to end up being the source of this huge mythology that's fundamentally just a way of avoiding reality. You're just trying to avoid actual political reality. You know? You don't want to deal with the reality of things, which is much more complicated than that, right? It's much more challenging of reality to deal with. The reason why the world's so fucked up is in part because people like you are so gullible towards bullshit like that. Because you want so badly for it to be a simpler kind of thing that you can know in your preferred attentional manner. But, it depending on where it is in your stack, it may be extraordinarily not well suited for the task. And it's also the case that reality has a complexity that makes it ill-suited to NI if you're looking at things with a significantly large number of variables and multiple, because the thing is, remember, impacts too are a matter of personal attentional configuration. Impacts as well. Those are subjective as well. There are four fundamentally subjective areas of existence that every individual expresses across. And those subjective areas of existence are solving problems, impacts, knowing what's important, and recalling and remembering your own personal experience. So, what you're talking about here are all subjective matters, and yet you're trying to attribute to them an objective frame, namely that there's an NI whole here that we can understand to be responsible for this. And that's wrong. So, you're wrong. So, stop. I don't like your disinformation. Don't spread it around here. Yes, there are evil people out there. Of course, Epstein is an example of a very evil man who took advantage of his wealth to do particularly evil things. It's not. It's not. And I just finished explaining why it is not, Fly Guy. So please don't try to spread disinformation here. I don't like it. People don't work in coordination with each other cross-generationally like that. You're insane to think that they do. I think he was an INFJ on speed, on meth, a lot of meth. He called it vitamins, though. Well, this is the problem. It's like you guys don't understand that you're missing the point, right? I don't even want you to justify your claims about it. Because, yeah, of course, power does take the shape of a pyramid regardless of other structures. So, and that's the problem, is that you're always going to find, in every instance of time, power differentials. And you can always create link stories between those power differentials. And that's what you're doing. But that's stupid. Just because you can create link stories doesn't mean that you're on to anything. And the reason is you're only creating the link stories that are following your intuition. And your intuition is not extroverted, so it's not smart enough to recognize, oh shit, my NI hole here is about things that are too subjective to NI hole about. The point is, powerful groups do exist. They are interested in changing the world. And there are more than one of them. There are multiple nodes of power and wealth that are often in conflict with one another. Sure, conspiracies are real and happen all the time. Absolutely. The problem here is there's what you might call mythologically, it's like a mythological fetish. The point is, of course, it doesn't matter. What you guys are trying to do here is you're trying to figure out which individual people to blame. And this is too complex a matter to be subject to that kind of simple kind of analysis. I didn't say it was a theory, did I? The conspiracies do happen, sure. And I mean, that's the kind of bullshit I'm talking about. These things are not well justified. What is your point, anyway? What is your point? No, I'm not shitting on TI. What's your point? I'm shitting on NI, yes. I'm shitting on bad NI. You know? Sometimes it's from NI DOMs, but oftentimes it might be from NI third. It might be from NI eighth. If you get an SI DOM trying to look at these problems and figure shit out, they come up with crazy nonsense all the time, you know? But the bottom line is understand the nature of individual human beings first, and understand the nature of shifting nodes of power and wealth in various contexts, right? Recognize the fact that status quos only sustain as individuals' visions for relatively short periods of time and in relatively limited scopes of influence. But they don't. People do change, right? We're talking about things happening cross-generationally. And that's what's not being acknowledged there's a failure to understand that there's no secret group of people that doesn't change that controls everything. Right? People die. New people come into power. Things do change. It's easier to imagine that there's some secret superhuman group of people who don't age, that are controlling everything, and they remain the same, and that are all in agreement with each other. Yeah, sure. It's easier to pretend like those people are to blame, right? That there's a cabal that doesn't change. The individual members of it don't change. They don't age somehow, and or they just sustain the same exact vision across generations or whatever somehow. But that's not reality. That's make believe. That's when we're pretending. That's not for actual policy analysis. So the problem here is, even if we were to agree on this point, what's your fucking point then? Then what should we do? So what should we do then? We need to make sure everybody realizes these people are to blame, and then what, arrest them all? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, we have to talk about, if we're going to discuss policy, we want to discuss it in some capacity that allows us as individuals to meaningfully engage in some sort of process intellectually. But what you're doing is not an intellectual process. It's an emotional process. There are some dynasties, sure. I mean, you look to Japan's very long-lasting dynasties as proof of that can happen. But that happens when you get homogenous groups in isolation. To the extent that the world is changing towards less homogenous groups and less isolation. So there needs to be a respect for the actual fluidity and processes of the world, and also some respect for the capacity of people to successfully anticipate what kind of impacts are going to happen from their decisions. It's easiest when Marty Glenn has 10,000 subscribers. I mean, see, this is what you should be talking about, right? It's like, why is it that intelligent discourse on things can't gain any purchase? Well, in part, it's because the vast majority of people prefer to have things oversimplified and have somebody to blame and feel like they've done something intellectually rather than actually do anything intellectually. Look, I don't want to play. I don't want to play Let's Battle Mythology Day, okay? It's just depressing. It's like, even around here, it's depressing, right? Can't anybody be a grown-up except me? Hi, darling. I got a fair amount of sleep last night.
That's good.
How about you?
Yeah, I did too.
And how are you feeling this morning?
Good.
Good. I don't believe the algorithm has any conspiracy against me. I just don't think that it's designed to reward my kind of channel, you know. I haven't had to make it work really at all. It's not been a yeah, I gotta put some cardboard there. I think it's because there's little structure to your content. That's why the AI doesn't like you as much. Oh yeah, probably. I mean, it is
Hi, Lou.
rather video by video. So, you know, depending on what kind of video I make, I can reliably anticipate and get predictable kind of results accordingly, which is a lot better than I can say about my understanding of shorts. Well, it's not always been. I guess you could say it's not always been easy, but we've had our difficult times. But for the most part, Rachel and I get along really well, and it's quite effortless being with each other. I think.
I think so too.
Yeah. What does NI fourth look like compared to NI polar? Well, NI polar will have crazy explanations that involve people that they know. So it'll be like my dad. It'll be about specific shit, you know, like something got moved in the house, so my dad's concluded that a burglar's come into the house and moved the Tupperware in the middle of the night or something. And I was like, okay, Dad, that does not make any sense at all. Why would a burglar come in and move the Tupperware? You know, that's anti-polar. Whereas NI4 is like every impact must be the result of somebody else's NI. Every impact I didn't create must be attributable to somebody else's NI directly. Of course, lots of things that happen are not. If for an NI Dom who's observing what's going on and having clarity about it, that leads to action sometimes, and that's fine. But many impacts are unintended impacts of multiple vectors. So you can't really NI them that way. I'm saying that because I did do the INFJ game of implying Eric should change his surroundings before I agree. I asked if he's more into that stuff. It is the case that fourth slot is kind of like a baby. Seventh slot is even more like a baby, but A 3-year-old maybe, yeah, that seems about right for fourth slot, or maybe a little older than that. I don't know, but it's like when I feel out of sorts, I need to SI. And I think that's just how it is with people and their 1-4. When you feel out of sorts, you need to do your fourth slot. When Rachel feels out of sorts, she needs to SE. And that's a little more challenging thing to do because when understood properly, SE, to say that is to say she needs to create impacts. It's not just do something, right? It's create impacts of some kind. So that might be like buying something, or it might be having sex, I guess. Or it might be it's like because I'm fourth slot SI, I'm not necessarily very good at like she's not getting as much fourth slot as I'm getting, and it's harder to provide, I think, than SI is. To a certain extent, those two things link. You know, like if we were to clean up around here, like she was doing yesterday, when you were cleaning up, that's probably fourth slot SE coming kicking in. That could also be SI. You know.
Yeah, like I'm not really an anime fan, so it was like helping me like
Deal with the fact that you weren't. I wasn't watching what you wanted to watch.
yeah.
Right. Well, the thing is, though, the couple of times prior to that I started watching stuff with you, that when we started watching Stranger Things, you went off to watch something else in the other room. So at that point, I got caught up in what I was watching. You know.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't like. Honestly, I don't like reading the captions on the screen. It's too much for me.
What is situational awareness? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like, are you asking me what does it mean to be situationally aware? Or are you asking me what cognitive function links to situational awareness? If it's the second question, I need the first question answered first. Oh. SE is situational awareness. FEOV vibrations awareness. That's then too woohoo. Well, I think what's probably meant by that is NI, really. It's being an observer, waiting to observe something that links to impact significantly. Which is to say, an opportunity of some sort. I mean, in general, I'd say awareness links to NI, as does mindfulness. Whereas SE is about impacts. I mean, the reason NI and SE are on the same axis is because they blend together at a certain point. Like, my extroverted intuition is made primarily out of chunks of SI and some other things, right? And so it's, yeah. Why do I seem to be so much less clumsy than SI DOMs? I'm way better at having a tidy house and attending to recurring tasks. Well, it's the difference between conscious and unconscious. For SI DOMs, it's not it's not particularly a matter of willful attention because uh, it's autopilot. So that they're waiting for their for what you perceive as their disorder to feel like disorder to them before they're going to act upon it. But it's not going to feel that much like disorder to them until it's more disorder than you would like it to be, possibly, because they have a better sense of where everything is anyway. I don't know. I don't think of essay downs as especially clumsy, but I also don't think of them as especially graceful or anything. Like, I don't. Yeah, I don't think I don't think anything about that really. But as far as clumsiness goes, I don't know. I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't think of SI DOMs as clumsy. Maybe ISFJs would be a little more clumsy than ISTJs in my just sort of gut instinct, but I don't know. I don't think of it as clumsy. They're not necessarily that tidy. Like SI DOMs, especially ISFJs, are not necessarily very tidy, although they'll clean up before you come over. ISTJs are probably more tidy than ISFJs in general, but so I guess I feel I think there's some because I think Rachel's feeling rather trapped, and and I'm feeling like not I'm not feeling up to the challenge at the moment, really, of making shit happen.
But like, really, what shit should be making happen? You know, like I'm not really like looking to do something. Like I'm feeling very lazy.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty lazy as well.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, if you've got a combination of two things, a persistent dissatisfaction with the status quo and laziness, then you get into depression. I think routine is more of a backstack SI thing because you try to make shit happen on the regular without having to plan to try again and again. Yeah, well, I
You're
mean,
my sweet bamboo.
well, thanks, darling.
I love you.
I love you too. The no, it's more challenging than that. You know, it's like this is not an easy situation for us to be in here at this house. You know, happy Pride Month to you too, Flote. I am proud of my pride. I'm proudly prideful. This is Boba Fett. I don't know if it's that per se. Um, you know, it's like okay, this morning my dad comes bangs on the door at 8 a.m. because he needs me to because he can't hear the doctor. This is a perfectly good reason to get me up to go help him, right? He can't hear the doctor. But then my dad and I stand right there by the room where Rachel's sleeping and have this conversation with the doctor. And it's probably quite loud and disruptive to her sleep at that point. And yet she can't really say anything because it was a necessary thing to have happen. My dad does need to hear what the doctor is saying. And I didn't think about trying to move the conversation like maybe I should have because I just didn't think of it.
You were acting on the fly.
Yeah, I just got woken up out of
Yeah.
I was asleep and all of a sudden I'm outside dealing with shit, right?
Yeah.
So it's like Rachel can't really say anything about it, but it's nevertheless annoying. And that's kind of a reality that she's in here, which is there's a lot of shit that's annoying, but not necessarily anything she can say anything about because it's just a reality of life here. Maybe she's annoyed by the peacocks. Maybe she's annoyed. You know, these things over time build up as this sort of perpetual kind of annoyance thing that she can't really say anything about because she's not really in a position to say anything about it. And
Yeah, like one thing that's been bothering me is the cats have been fighting. It's so annoying. And I know I know that like they both instigate each other. Like they both irritate each other. Like it's not just trouble, it's also pee-pee. But pee-pee has two like bald spots from when her and Trouble got into a fight, and like honestly, Trouble is an asshole. Like he could be he a real pain in the ass, real pain in the ass. So I've been having trouble with that too, like accepting that he's part of the family and that also he is also Trouble. He's a stray cat. He has these instincts that are pretty nasty sometimes. Hey Clint Eastwood. Yes, Dark Sunshine, you're right. Trouble is a bad guest and needs to learn some manners.
yeah, well, So I'm not quite sure what to do about sort of emerging symptoms of persistent non-optimal realities. But I mean, I'm a lot more comfortable now with this chair than I was before.
Why do you hold on so tight? What are you running around?
So, okay. Um, I feel like I should. I don't know. I feel like Rachel and I should have a conversation. Maybe not while streaming.
About what?
About this stuff, you know. It's like you've got a lot of frustrations right now, and I guess complaints you probably need to get off of your chest, and that's going to be a difficult conversation because obviously I know things aren't optimal, and
Well, I just deal with it. I realized like there's not much I can do. I just deal with it.
right. So it's like
I'm not like unhappy. It's just that I realize that there's sometimes going to be like things that get in the way.
I think we could get Trouble snipped, I guess, if we get him into the cage. But man, that cat's scary.
Yeah.
Hi, Jan Jans. Jan Jams.
Hey, Jan Jams.
Well, it's not just that. It's just a like yesterday. Rachel said to me in the car that I was lucky not to have any of my conflictor types in my life, which is her way of saying she's not lucky to be around my dad all the time. She can't really complain about
Not
it.
only your dad, but also Jeffrey's mom.
And Jeffrey's mom. Oh, right. She was not a Jeffrey's mom. Oh, okay. In that instance, she was not a Jeffrey's mom. But, well, one of them's a girl cat fly guy. So Capio is spayed, but is not a male. Yeah, Dark Sunshine, right? Um,
Yeah, Dark Sunshine. INFJ communication is like Morse code sometimes.
I'm pretty good at interpreting it, though.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, Rachel doesn't have to leave a lot of clues that she's not happy for me to go, okay, something's off here. Rachel's kind of a canary in a coal mine in some sense that it's like if it feels like if life's going well, then then Rachel's happy and everything's going smoothly. And when things are a little bit bumpy, then maybe that links to her being a little less happy or something. But I'm not really sure that's the case. So the thing is, a lot of that kind of stuff emerged the last few days when she didn't have her olanzapine. So I think those things are nevertheless realities that are true. They just are more or less visible to me, depending on how well Rachel is. And so it's not like these things aren't real problems just because Rachel doesn't express much about them as such when she's entirely feeling herself. Yeah.
Jeremiah Fix, it's funny, I was thinking about not getting, but like using an old spray bottle and filling it with water to use on trouble. And peeping when they fight.
Oh, well, the cats don't poop any place they shouldn't. Thank you, Godfrey. My dad got it for me for Christmas.
Yeah, that's honestly, Fly Guy, that's what I was thinking too. Neutered cats can still be territorial and fight for territory. I honestly think he's still gonna fight. He's just a fighter. He's never learned, like, people skills. Like how it is to be like upset at something without being like aggressive.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, New Groove, is that we need some SE. But as I was saying earlier, I think SE links a lot to creating impacts. But yeah, I suspect we need to get out of the house. Rachel, you want to go somewhere and do something today?
I guess. What do you have in mind?
I don't really have anything specific in mind at the moment.
I'm honestly feeling lazy.
Okay. Well, it's not really time for you to get up yet, for one thing. Is it hot ice cream weather? We could go get ice cream, but it's not a very big outing. I guess Rachel doesn't want an outing. She sounds like she probably wants to go back to bed. Cats actually have huge territories, so being in a small place like a house might naturally incline to be combative. Our cats seem to have a fairly large amount of territory they cover. The backyard, the front yard, into the neighbor's yard, maybe some. Walking a few minutes under the sun will wake you up. Well, I don't know if she wants to wake up. She might want to go back to bed. But, the thing is, I'm just feeling really uninspired and meh right now across the board. Like I don't feel like making anything. I don't feel like I have any good ideas at the moment. I I just feel yeah. Have you looked into binaural beats? Supposedly the frequencies can alter your own frequency and it can help with chemicals. Well, sure, listening to music does help sometimes. But I would listen to music, I wouldn't listen to that nonsense.
Could you open this for me?
Sure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get rid of that.
Thanks. See, the thing is, the reason I'm feeling so meh is because I guess I'm spending too little time following through on any given plan and too much time just being Eric-y or something. And it's just like I need to put a handle on shit. Like take all this stuff off these shelves over here and go through it and try to organize things better and stuff like that. I can't even remember what I did with the bed frame. I know what we should do today, Rachel.
What should we do?
We should go visit my mom.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Bring her an iced tea.
Let's do it.
Yeah, okay. We'll do that later today, okay?
Okay.
No, the bed frame's not under the aquarium.
10,
I don't
12.
know where I put it. No. We will. I'll cook something or whatever. We got food to cook. TE the shit out of everything. That's what really I need to do is TE the shit out of my whole existence. But I'm not feeling. I mean, the thing is,
I think I need to FI. That's why I've been watching like movies and stuff. It makes me feel emotions.
why don't we go to visit my mom sooner rather than later, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that. We did that yesterday. But Yeah, and that's also the thing that makes things sometimes tricky is that it may be the case that Rachel's somewhat off because maybe she's not on all of her meds as she was in the last few days. But that doesn't change the fact that what she's saying or what she's drawing to my attention to is in fact a genuine problem. The NI doesn't stop working. It's the FE that stops working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the FE stops working for sure.
I mean, as well. It's not like Rachel's been very difficult or anything the last few days. It's just that she's not as she's been less attentive, I guess, to my stuff than she normally would be, and so it makes me think, okay, something's wrong, and then I don't know. The point is,
What have I been less attentive to?
well, I just mean like you've been more we've been more in like separate rooms, so you know.
It's hard, because I don't really enjoy anime. Like, I can't. It's very difficult. Like, I can't really sit here for a long time to watch it. Like, I
But
can't
that's
binge
fine.
watch.
I have no problem with us watching different things in separate rooms.
Oh, okay.
I have no problem at all with that. But the last couple of times we started watching them out here with Stranger Things, which we were going to watch together, and you got up and went and watched something else anyway. So in those couple of instances, that's what I'm saying. Is going to make me go, okay, well, I guess you don't want to watch this with me. The problem with that being then, I've been waiting to watch it with you because we're going to watch it together, and then you don't want to watch it. When we start watching it, then I go, okay, well, so we're watching this together or not? Because
I'd like to watch together.
no, we're not going to stream on Twitch, for God's sake. It's like, I don't want to switch platforms. It's a big pain in the ass. I barely feel like doing this. Yeah, I'm increasingly feeling not like doing this. I think maybe going and visiting my mom would probably do us some good. Probably do both of us some good. So, what kind of live streams do people do on YouTube? I mean, what kind of stream is this?
Mm-hmm. How existential.
Does this have a name? What I'm doing? A live stream?
Live stream.
Oh, well, I wouldn't call this a slice of life. I'd call it Eric talking with people if I'm talking with famous people.
We're gonna draw some cards.
Okay.
Lou, you are the first one to get a card. This is where I am currently using the Gustav Klimt Tarot. Lou. Here's for you. Wait, I'm gonna shuffle one more time. Lou. The Chariot. You're moving forward confidently. You got your hair flowing, you're standing up proudly, and you're on your chariot. It's like, you go. Next one's Fly Guy. Oh, gotta go. Fly Guy, quickly. 4 swords. Resting and getting some meditation done. You see, she's sleepy. Take a nap. Winston's mom's next. And then after Winston's mom is Boba Fett. Thanks, Jonathan Basanti. Fly Guy. Wait. I already did Fly Guy, I think. Who did I say was next? I totally forgot. Boba Fett, you're next. Then Jeremiah Fix. Boba Fett. 4 of coins. You're just sitting there with your money. You're like, I'm sitting pretty. Got my 4 pentacles. Jeremiah Fix. This is you. This is you. Jeremiah Fix. Eight of Swords. Feeling a little mentally trapped. You're maybe overthinking things and being like, damn, what's going on? Jonathan Basanti, you get yours next. Thanks, Winston's mom, for doing the timestamp. Jonathan Basanti. 3 of Swords. Feeling a little brokenhearted. It's like, ouch, ouch, ouch. You're stabbing me. And this woman in particular, like, it looks like she's just like, eh.
Let me do a pull for you.
Sure. And then you.
Okay. I'm gonna do a 3-card pull for you and a 3-card pull for me.
Cool.
Okay. This is you in the middle. Wait. This one.
8 of Swords. Feeling,
Trapped?
yeah.
That's the same you got yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Still feeling trapped, I see. We've got some of these cards are upside down in here. And then this one, 21.
I think. Oh, that's the world.
And behind you, so to speak, and in front of you, 5 of Cups.
Yeah, it's crying over spilled milk.
Okay. Which types exactly are slow at finishing tasks? INTPs, INFPs, ENFPs, ENTPs. And maybe some other types, but those are the ones that are going to be most, like, impacted by that, I guess. It's not like INFJs are particularly great at taking on tests and completing them, but Rachel is quite better at SIing the fact that she does the laundry every week than I am about SIing anything, really.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Alright, now for me. So, this one goes in the middle, I guess. And this one goes here. And then okay, so for me, I've got
Knave of Chalices.
Knave of Chalices. Yeah, Rachel's pretty good about doing the things she's decided to do. And then behind me,
Queen of Wands. It's pretty.
Queen of Wands is behind me. And in front of me,
The World.
a world. That's good.
It's a nice reading.
So, Knave of Cups. That's like page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel kind of like the moment requires more grown-up F than I have at my disposal.
Yeah.
I've been calling you for days.
Wow, I pulled the 5 of Chalices from me again. I'm really in my feels.
Well, you know, a lot of there is spilled milk to cry about, I guess. So that would probably make Rachel happier if I did that as well with Dark Sunshine. Whereas for me, I've got like, once I decide to do something, then there's this long period, sequence of things that I do before I actually do that thing. Like, well, first I sit here and smoke a cigarette and meow before I actually go do that thing, you know. But I'm feeling like pretty ready to go visit my mom. So we'll probably wrap this stream up here pretty quick and go get that done. I think we'll both feel better after we do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that would help us feel better in general if we went to visit her more often, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't keep any milk around. Milk just becomes sour milk. Milk is just the precursor to our eventual bottle of sour milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go through the McDonald's and get us a couple Cokes and her an iced tea. She likes iced tea. It's a good time of day to go visit, probably too.
Yeah, it is.
Do a survey thing asking people if they're atheists, theists, agnostics, or apatheist. Apathetic about the theistic question. Apatheist is snappy, but you should really be fair and say it's apocosmologist, cosmologist, because you can't be both interested in cosmological questions and disinterested in theological ones, or the fundamental theological question, I guess.
Gemini, Pluto in the 4th house.
Gemini, Pluto in the 4th house. What does that mean?
It means you're gonna want to communicate about esoteric things in the home. Because 4 represents the home. Pluto represents occult and dark things, and Gemini is a communicator.
Communicate about dark things in the home?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. that's I don't really know if there's really anything. This is the weird thing about me and Rachel in general, is that when we have an issue of some sort, it's there's not a whole lot to say about it, you know? It's like, I think I understand where Rachel is coming from in her complaints, which aren't really complaints, you know, but are indications of a reason to complain, I guess. But I don't have any clarity really about what to do about it.
It's difficult because, in a way, it is what it is. There really isn't much to do about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll one for you.
Oh, I thought you did roll one. I thought it was for me before. No, that was for you.
I think both of us.
Okay. What's this one gonna say?
You got Scorpio, Venus, and the 9th house.
So what does that mean?
So, deep sexual things and the occult, love and partnership with Venus, and the 9th house has to do with expansion and knowledge.
learning about feeling stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess let's wrap this up and start moving on, going to see my mom.
Okay.
Thanks for being here, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. You know, meow's always a bit of a passing thing. It's temporary.
Yeah.